My sister took over my parents' house after their death, then tried to evict me from the garage I was living in. I thought I had nothing left to lose, until I found the hidden will that changed everything, including who really owned the house. After our parents passed away within 6 months of each other, everything just kind of collapsed. Emotionally, financially, mentally, we were barely keeping it together. My sister, Claire, is 6 years older than me and had always been the responsible one. The golden child, the one they bragged about, the one who got her act together while I stayed behind in our small town fixing cars and trying to get through each day. When Mom died, Claire stepped in right away to handle everything. I was grieving, trying to make sense of the silence in the house, while she took over the funeral arrangements, the estate lawyer meetings, and all the paperwork. I didn't think much of it at the time. I was in too much pain to care. She told me we'd go through everything together once things settled. I moved into the garage after the funeral. It was converted, had electricity, a small bathroom, and it wasn't like I had anywhere else to go. Claire had her own apartment in the city, but she said she wanted to stay at the house to protect it. We were both there in our childhood home, trying to coexist with ghosts and silence. Then little things started to happen. She began moving my stuff around without asking. The door to the garage got accidentally locked from the outside. Mail started arriving in her name only, including a notice from the city about a property title change. I asked her about it, and she brushed me off. "It's just legal cleanup," she said. "Don't worry." But I was worried, more than I wanted to admit. Our parents weren't rich, but the house was fully paid off, and I knew that Dad had always promised we'd share everything equally. Claire was always the planner. If anyone had set up some sneaky legal maneuver behind my back, it would be her. One night, after she'd gone out for dinner with some old college friends, I let myself into the main house with the key Dad gave me years ago. Something felt off. Her laptop was open on the kitchen table with a PDF file still visible, a scanned version of a new will dated just weeks before Mom died. My name wasn't on it. At all. I stared at the screen, my pulse pounding in my ears. According to this new will, Claire inherited everything. The house, the savings, even Dad's old truck that he promised I could have. It didn't make sense. Mom had been bedridden for months. There was no way she was in the right state of mind to sign anything. And even if she was, why would she cut me out like that? The signature looked weird. I'd seen Mom's handwriting all my life, and this one looked shaky and oddly slanted, like someone had tried to forge it and didn't quite know how she wrote her S's. I quickly took a photo of the screen, emailed the file to myself, and left everything exactly the way I found it. I didn't confront Claire that night. Instead, I spent hours in the garage, pacing, thinking. The next morning, Claire knocked on the garage door. Not even a good morning. Just a flat, cold stare. "You need to be out by Friday," she said, arms crossed. "This isn't working anymore." I blinked. "What?" "You've had time to get back on your feet. I need to start clearing the house. I might sell it." "Sell it?" I almost laughed. It was like she wasn't even pretending anymore. "This isn't just your house, Claire." "Yes, it is," she said, pulling a folded paper from her back pocket. "You can read it yourself." It was a copy of the same will I saw on her laptop. Neatly printed, notarized. The same forged signature. She actually had the nerve to wave it in my face like it was a done deal. I didn't argue. Not then. I just took the paper, nodded, and shut the garage door. I called a friend of Dad's, a retired lawyer named Mr. Phelps, who always came to our BBQs and still sent Christmas cards. I sent him the photo of the will, along with a scan of Mom's real signature from an old birthday card she wrote me. He called me back 20 minutes later. "This will is suspicious as hell," he said. "It's not even properly witnessed. And it contradicts the one your father signed with both your names on it. I'll look into it. Don't leave that garage." So I stayed. And while Claire started giving house tours to realtors, I quietly worked with Mr. Phelps. We dug up the original will from Dad's files, notarized and filed months before Mom even fell ill. It left the house to both of us equally. 50-50. No conditions. Claire must have thought I was giving up. She started acting bolder, leaving my boxes by the garage door, openly talking with agents about her house, even mentioning renovations she planned to do. But I kept quiet. Mr. Phelps told me to wait, said timing was everything in cases like this. And I trusted him. After all, he knew how to fight people like Claire. About a week later, I got a call from Mr. Phelps. We're filing a challenge to the will. I've got a handwriting analyst reviewing the signature. It's looking good for you. But there's one more thing we need.
What?
I asked. A witness. Someone who saw your mother in her final weeks. Someone who can speak to her condition, and maybe to who is influencing her. My stomach turned. There was only one person who came to mind. Her nurse, Lynn. She was there almost daily toward the end. She'd seen everything. I tracked her down and asked if she remembered anything unusual about my mom's final days, especially anything involving Claire. Lynn didn't even hesitate. Your sister was always hovering, she said. Always trying to get your mom to sign things. Your mom told me once that Claire was pushing her about changing the will. She said she was tired and didn't want to argue anymore. I made a note about it in the care log, not that anyone ever looked at it. That was gold. Mr. Phelps nearly yelled when I told him.
Get that log, he said.
If we have proof your mom was under pressure and not mentally fit to sign, we've got her. I drove straight to Lynn's old care facility. She wasn't allowed to give me the log herself, but Mr. Phelps filed a formal request through the court. And a few days later, we had it. A dated note saying patient reports family pressure to alter legal documents. Appears distressed. Advises she is too tired to keep fighting. That was the nail in the coffin. When Claire was served with the notice of the legal challenge, her confidence cracked. At first, she denied everything. Claimed the will was real. Claimed mom was of sound mind. But when we produced the care log, the handwriting analysis, and the original will, her lawyer quietly tried to settle. She wanted to avoid court.
Badly.
I told Mr. Phelps I didn't want to settle unless Claire gave up everything. Not just the house, but any claim to mom's accounts, the jewelry, the furniture, even the family photos she'd already boxed up and taken. I was done playing nice. She forged a will, manipulated our dying mother, and then treated me like I was the intruder. She didn't deserve a dime. It took 2 more weeks of pressure before Claire finally caved. I still remember the day she came to the house, not with a smirk, not with a team of movers, but alone and defeated. She handed over a signed agreement renouncing any claim to the estate. Mr. Phelps reviewed it with a magnifying glass, then nodded. Claire didn't say a word to me. As she turned to leave, I finally spoke. You really thought Mom would want this to be her legacy? Us tearing each other apart. She stopped at the door, her hand on the knob, but didn't turn around. You had everything, the job, the praise, the perfect image. And it still wasn't enough. She walked out without answering. I watched her drive away, her luxury SUV disappearing down the street like a bad memory. I stood there for a long time, surrounded by the silence of the house. For once, it didn't feel like a battleground. It felt like home again. Not because I'd won, but because justice had been done. Mom's real wishes were honored. I could finally grieve her properly. Over the next few months, I repaired the damage to the house and to myself. I found the photo albums Claire had tried to hide away. I even replanted the garden Mom had loved so much. And every evening, I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, looking out at the sunset, knowing I'd protected what mattered most. Sometimes revenge doesn't look like fire or fury. Sometimes it's just peace. And knowing the truth came out. In the months that followed, I thought a lot about Mom. Her laughter in the kitchen while baking, her humming when she gardened, the way she always smoothed my hair when I was upset. I had feared that losing the house, our home, would mean losing those memories. But it turns out, those lived on in me, no matter what. I found a letter one day, tucked deep inside her knitting drawer. It was addressed to both Claire and me. Handwritten, soft and neat, in that way only Mom could manage. It read, "If you're reading this, I'm probably gone. I want you both to know that I love you, no matter how things turn out. Claire, you were always so determined, but sometimes too proud. And to you, my sweet one reading this, I know you've always felt like you were in her shadow. I see you. I love you equally. Please don't let grief turn you into strangers." I cried harder reading that than I had since the day we lost her. And strangely, that letter didn't make me feel angry anymore. It just made me feel human.
Real. Seen.
I never heard from Claire again. Maybe someday she'll realize what she lost. Maybe she won't. But I stopped waiting for that. I had my peace. And peace, I've learned, is the rarest kind of inheritance. Last week, I walked past the old house. A young couple was sitting on the porch swing, the same one Dad had installed when we were kids. The woman had a toddler on her lap, and the man was reading aloud from a picture book. I paused across the street, just watching. For a second, the past and present blurred together. Then the little boy laughed, kicking his feet excitedly, and the woman leaned her head on her partner's shoulder. That's when I smiled. The house wasn't mine anymore, but it was still a home. That meant something. I turned and kept walking. My life wasn't behind me in that place. It was ahead, unwritten. And this time I get to be the one holding the pen.